base speed right now. So I'd be up there if I were the coxswain, making sure the race is off.
All right.
If I were the coxswain, I would just be making sure that I'm getting my crew into gear and just getting into the base and getting going. What would you be focusing on right now, since you have been a coxswain?
Yeah, I mean, for me, as soon as we push off, it's just all about making sure that we're ready to go and we're in the right place at the right time. Right before the start of the race, I'm just making sure that we're breathing, that we're confident, and we're ready to go.
There we go. We have Georgetown in an early lead at about a 41. Delaware also up there with them, but significantly higher in their early start. They were up at 46, actually, now also at a 41. Very nice push here from Georgetown off the front end. And again, what we're seeing is that the crews that are just a little bit more efficient, a little bit more rhythmic, are really getting out and letting it work. Mercyhurst and Delaware within about 3 seats of each other. Right now, Georgetown at about a 35. And they're just pushing up into this first 500.
Yeah. So take a look at that
20s.
Georgetown stroke seat. Kyle Welch was a walk-on his freshman year.
That's great.
Yeah, look at that. He's super athletic. There's a couple of other athletes in that boat. The bow seat, Ryan Teastel played golf, and Doug Byrne in 2 seat was a water skier.
A water skier?
Yeah.
Well, at least he probably knows what it feels like to plane out on the water.
He's out home out here.
So again, what I'm seeing here is just that Georgetown crew is leaving its blades in the water really nicely, just pressing past the leverage point the whole way. Little bit of washing out in this Delaware crew, sort of trying to yank the finish a little bit, trying very hard to stay up 2-man, looking around to see just where Georgetown is. Mercyhurst needs a little more push in the legs, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still, they're rating pretty high, 38 or so, as opposed to the others who are down in the mid-30s. And again, you can just see that the base speed is working really nicely for Georgetown there.
I'm just loving watching this Georgetown crew. They look like they've got a really strong core. They look so tall and supported, and they're in a great position to just keep using their legs.
Very, very quiet in the upper bodies, coming through the first 1,000 just under 3 minutes, which for this time of year is pretty good. And that's with a slight headwind too. Yeah, very nice quiet shoulders. I like their height, I agree. You can see just the length that they're getting.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough thing to do at any point in the season, but especially in the beginning of the season and when it's so windy. Props to them. They're doing a great job.
You know, this is going to be the interesting thing about this season is coming out of COVID, coaches were able to take time to do some development that they didn't, nor often they don't get to do. In terms of staying lower in the fall, in terms of really spending a lot of time in small boats. I think it's allowed a lot of crews to just develop some better general technical skill, which is what we're seeing. So you can still see, though, it's early because as we're getting into the second half, maybe it's because the wind's coming up a little bit in the second half of the course, but the blade work gets a little bit gnarlier as we come into the second 1,000 here.
Yeah. At this point in the race, is there any part of you that's kind of thinking, well, I've got another race this afternoon, or are you staying in your lane right now?
I think at this point, this is, you know, 3 crews sort of spread out. I think they're just, again, the coxswain's probably going back to keeping them in their race plan. I'm assuming that the coxswain has several options at this point, and those have all been talked about. So my guess is that they're all just going to push, get a good piece in. Almost it becomes training in some ways, because they're going to come back and race this afternoon, and particularly at the varsity level, this 1V level, you've got to come back and know that you're racing some of the best crews in the country. between Columbia and Princeton later. You also have Harvard here. You have Penn looking really good. So they're going to want to come back and probably put the full effort in this afternoon. And you can see they're just rowing really quite nicely here. They're down at 35, pushing away into the finish. Delaware still up at a 37, but it's not a particularly efficient 37 at the front end. So they're spinning their wheels a little bit. And then we have Mercyhurst up at a 38. So keeping their rating going, but just not quite enough
not quite enough, yeah.
End.
They haven't really been able to break off much more there from Delaware. Delaware did a great job hanging on. Even though they were no longer in contact, they stayed tough.
Chuck Crawford's crews are always tough racing, and they always go at it all the way down the course, as do Adrian's. They're just going to be really good in their levels, and it's great that they are out here racing. But that Georgetown crew looked exceptionally good for a first race. Georgetown coming in just over 6 minutes in the finish time, 6:03, 6:04. 6:14 to the finish. Sorry, we are being fed times in our ears, so we're figuring that out as we go on. But you can check results at herenow.com. You can see live results on that website.